I've had my eye on this compressor for quite some time at Lowe's, and I just decided to get it the other day. It's the Kobalt dual power air inflator. It runs off of either DC 12 volts, which would be your car outlet, the cigarette lighter, or the it'll run on AC 120 volts, which is your household power. The item number is 791911, model number KLDP1. I've got a smaller unit in my car for emergency purposes. It's always good to have one, and been wanting to get something just a little bit nicer, and this has a lot of features, and so I thought I would give this thing a try. Now I noticed this is also available in a 24 volt model, but being that it's going to stay in the car year round, I opted not to have that particular unit. Let's just take a look at this thing then, the outside of it. I paid $54.98, and the maximum PSI stated that this will go to is 120. So this is the front of the unit. The bottom, you can see where it has cooling vents. It's got these nice handles on here. Really like these for picking it up. Now this is not necessarily small, okay, so the approximate size that I measure overall is 12 5/8 inches long, 8 3/4 inches high, and 7 inches deep. If we take a look at the bottom, it does have some nice rubber feet. So if by chance you set this on your hood, I mean I wouldn't, that's just me, but you could set this on the hood of your car or something if you wanted to. It's not going to damage it. Well, it shouldn't damage, but like I said, it's got this nice rubber feet. As I said, this is dual powered, so it does come with this nice wraparound cord. Two-prong. I find that it goes around you real nice. Sometimes I have found that this will kick out of here a little bit if I set it down something, but not a big issue. Not a big deal. Now it's got these two side compartments. Okay, now to open these, got to push in just a little bit, push in and then out, because if you try to close this, you don't want to, there's little tabs here on both sides, you can't force it, got to push in and then, so push in with your thumb and then out. Opens very easy. You want to close it, push in and then the opposite direction. So if we take a look at the one on the left, this is for your 12 volts DC, and there's a lot of cord here, and it takes a little finesse getting it in. I decided to use a one of these ties from Night Eyes. I like their products instead of the little twisty that they give you. So in any event, I didn't measure it. I couldn't find the length on this, but you get a substantial amount. And then to put it back in, I folded it up like you see here and left a little on both sides so that you have some give in there in the wire. And then I just push it in here. It might have been nice if there was a little more room, but this isn't something you're going to use all the time anyways, but it will go in there. On the right side, we have the actual hose that would supply air to your tire or whatever device you were airing up. Now this goes in much nicer, much easier. So there was no problem with this. Put it back in. Now your 12-volt power cord, that is fused on the end of that. So you can't take the tip off. It takes an AGC 10 amp fuse. And the air hose is a 26-inch rubber hose that you have in the right brake compartment. This does have an accessory compartment on top. A little bit hard to open. Now, as you can see here, you're going to get 2 sports needles. You're going to get a raft nozzle and a Presta valve adapter. And of course, one of the 2 sports nozzles that you're going to get for inflating basketballs, footballs, whatever would require this. Here's your raft nozzle. Basically an end that you would stick inside of a hose or some kind of a port for inflation. Now this is the Presta valve adapter, and Presta valves are about half the size of a Schrader valve, and they're all metal. They're skinnier and they're all metal. So if you require the adapter, you have it here. Now this does come with a built-in light on the back side, which I really like. It's got a simple on-off switch. On, off. Looks like there's 4 LEDs. And they work really great at night when it's pitch dark out, so you won't have a problem illuminating what you're going to be airing up. Okay, so here's the front side control panel. Very simple, and it is illuminated. Very nice at night. So you've got your on button. Once this gets to the preset PSIs, it will shut off on its own. If you push it again once it's running, you will pause it. If you're going to set your PSI pressure initially, you've got your plus and then your minus button. Plus and minus to set your PSIs. It'll flash 3 times once you stop, and then it'll set that, it'll set whatever you have. Okay, now this is on page 4 of your instruction manual, At the caution, it says, allow inflator to cool down 5 minutes after each 3 minutes of continuous operation. Well, now I've got to question that. I'm going to think that most people, you're using this because it's an emergency, especially if you're out somewhere. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. I certainly didn't with the demonstration I'm going to be doing. But, you know, you're not going to use this in an industrial manner. But they probably got that in there. You know, you don't want to be just airing up. I wouldn't want to air up 4 tires, one right after another. But if I was doing one tire and it was in an emergency situation that you had to get it inflated and stuff, you're not home, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But that's just me. But I wanted to point that out, that's what is in the manual. Okay, on page 5 of your manual, it says, note, the inflator has a tolerance of plus or minus 2 psi and will automatically shut off accordingly. Okay, so I want to try something. I've deflated this tire to 22 psi. I keep all my tires at 44 pounds per square inch because that's what the maximum inflation rate is of these tires, and these are the original tires to the vehicle. So you can see I've got 22 pounds of air pressure in this tire. It's a cold tire, and we're going to see how long it takes to go from 22 to 44. Now it shows on my door column here that the tire pressure should be 30 psi in both the front and rear. But I never use those. I always set my tire psi to the maximum rating that's on the sidewall of the tire that I'm using. Here you can see that on the sidewall of my tire it shows 44 psi as the maximum pressure. Here's the size of the tire that's on my Honda CR-V. Okay, I've got my target pressure set to 44 psi, and I've got my stopwatch over here, and we're going to see how long it takes to go from 22 to 44 psi. Okay, so I've connected the hose, and it's showing 23 psi. So it did say that this unit has a plus or minus 2 degree range, which in an emergency and you need to air it up, tire's probably going to be hot anyways if you're out on the road and you see it down or something. So all you want to do is get that tire pressure up. So you can always wait to a later time. If you are on the road or and the tire's hot, I wouldn't worry about it. Get it set where you want it, air it up, find out what the deal is once you get off the road, and repair the tire. So that's what we have right here. 23 is what it shows on the unit. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn this thing on. 1 minute. Minutes. Minutes. Four minutes. Four minutes, 35 seconds. All right, let's disconnect this. Now I want to see what the actual reading is with my gauge here, with the higher end gauge. Now I'm showing with this gauge, you can see that it's just under 41 psi, just a hair above 40.5 psi. So we're about 4 pounds, so I'm going to go to 48 on here. I'm going to go to 48 pounds, and we'll restart this. Okay, so let's try this, the good gauge here, see what we get. And now I'm getting, let's see, what is that? Let's see, about 44.5. So, anyways, that's pretty much, oh no, that's right on 44. My mistake. That is 44. Trying to see, look at this through the viewfinder. But no, that's 44 psi. So, I don't know whether or not the difference is as the tire pressure goes up, the pressure on here may not, may be off more. I don't know. This is the very first time I've used this. I just want to take out of the box and give it a try. But in any event, you should always carry with you in your vehicle, if you do have something like this, always carry a small cheap gauge. You can buy them for damn near nothing, you know, maybe $8, $5, $8, and it's at least good enough to get you in a range. But that way it can get you up and going if you come out of work or you're at the house and you don't have another air compressor. Being the fact that this does have the option of 12 volt or AC, it gives you that option of having something to air up a tire. And I did neglect to say that this test was done with AC, not the 12 volt from the car. In fact, this is the cheaper gauge that I keep. I bought this at Walmart. I keep this in my car year-round. And the expensive gauge that I have, I only keep that in there late spring, summer, and then maybe early fall before it starts to freeze, because it is liquid filled, and the company did tell me that you don't want that to freeze. So anyways, this is one of those, this is an example. And what I like about this gauge, you'll notice it's got good resolution. See how from, say, they're 40 to 50, each tick is 2 psi. Some of these gauges that the 40-pound range would be over here, you know, over in this, it wouldn't have as good a resolution, because now that it's over here, if you know what I'm saying, the closer it is to 0, the less resolution. So this actually is a pretty decent little cheap gauge, and it's good to get you in the ballpark, as I said earlier, to have your tire to the proper PSI, that whatever of your choosing. Another item you should always carry in your car is this kit, which I have a video on this, my YouTube channel. It's a kit that allows you to, if you do get a nail or a screw or something in the tread, not the sidewall, but on the actual face of the tire, again, not on the sidewall, it allows you to repair, pull the nail, screw, whatever it is, pull it out and repair it. And again, I have a link. I'll put a link in to show where I have this. I just store it in here. If you never need it, that's the best thing. But if you do need it, it is a lifesaver.